Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to talk about the central impulse chronometer of Bernhard Lederer. And Lederer has been around for a number of years. He's a member of the AHCI and the elite organization for independent watchmakers. And he's probably somebody you may not have heard of before, but he's just one of these tip-top watchmakers, and his watches are fairly expensive. This particular one we're going to talk about today, it's time only, minutes, hours, and small seconds. But the mechanisms in this watch is a lesson in horology, and I think it'll help us understand a little better what's going on. Now, the books I consulted here are George Daniels' watchmaking book, and he had some information about a double, what we'll see is a double escapements, and also and the art of brigade. And here it was listed under the along with tourbillon watches, but it's not a tourbillon. It's much more than that, I think. It's a wonderful watch. So let's take a look at it. Now this is, like I said, it's a time only, so you're not going to have a whole lot on the front there. You're just going to have hours, minutes, and sub-seconds. Now here is where you got all the action in the caliber, in the movement, the caliber 9012. It's manual winding, which is I just love, and so you don't have all of this other stuff in there for automatic. 58 hours, that's how the charge on it, and it's 3 hertz. One of the interesting things, and this is sort of a little lesson for us, is why 3 hertz was chosen. Now, this was one of the finalists in the 2020 Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève, and this is what they said about this. This is a frequency of 3 hertz was chosen because a watch worn on the wrist is subjected to countless shocks of varying intensity. Each one has repercussion on the watch's movements, regulating organs. The escapement wheels, but more importantly on the balance wheel with its spiral spring, the balance spring. With each impact, there's an acceleration or a slowdown of the components find themselves twisted in the plane, and they have to resume their position. What happens with the rationale is that with a faster frequency, a higher frequency, it's going to take more to get it back into action. With the slower ones, you after they're bumped, you hit it with a bump. This one's gee whiz, what, 2.5 hertz, I believe, and so you can get it back quicker. Anyway, that was why they were used. That was the rationale behind 3 hertz. This watch has one balance wheel, and you can see it sort of to the right over, at least from this orientation, it's about 3 o'clock. It'd be 9 o'clock if you flipped it over. You can see that nice big balance wheel, but it has 2 escapement wheels at the end, two gear trains. Okay, so you have separate gear trains, and at the end of the gear trains you have these escapements. Each of the gear trains has its own barrel. In other words, it's got its own mainspring. And then on top of that, and this is really wild, it's got its own 10-second constant force remontoire. So, I mean, this watch is really amazing. Just a real quick thing, an escapement wheel, in case you don't know, all they do is they release the power that's provided by the mainspring. And what has to be done here is that using 2 different wheel trains and two different escapements, but with a single balance wheel, they have to work with it so that it just comes out to the time and the hour. I mean, it's just like it is really an amazing watch. This is another view of a central impulse escapement. I colored the pallets purple so you can see what they are, and you have the direction of the wheels, of the escape wheels. Now it's founded on Breguet's Escapement naturel, in other words, his natural escapement. And he called it a natural escapement because the oscillation, when you talk about VPH, you're really talking about semi-oscillations. So an escape wheel goes around and then boom. That's the entire oscillation. It goes around, I think, something like 260 degrees, and then it flips back. And what it does is that it hits the escape wheel. A little part of the movement is escape. Now then, on top of that, behind that, he's got two, I think they're 10-second remontoires, and these rewind every 10 seconds, and so you have a more constant force from the spring. Just to me, it's just a mind-boggling watch. And Bernhard Lederer is a genius. It just to work all of these things out. Now the watch, I think, is around 130, 140,000 Swiss francs. So it's really expensive, but what a watch. And it helps you understand what is happening. The reason for two escape wheels, like I said, you have on most of them, escape wheel just sort of waits here till it gets ticked by the pallets, and as it moves around. Now, with using two escape wheels, you have one half oscillation tipping it, and then the other half tipping it, except they have to do the opposite ones. Anyhow, I thought you might be interested in this. I don't know if you're going to run out and get one. I can't. I can't afford one. But really, to me, it was a very interesting lesson in watchmaking, and to see some of the wonderful ideas that have come out of that. Let me know what you think. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. And as always, this is an opportunity to subscribe if you'd like.